But I still have to come face to face with, I still need a provider. No matter how many times I can double, triple, quadruple your income, I still need a financial provider, or contributor. And it's like, how do I express that need to you without bringing guilt or shame along with it?
Yeah.
So then that was really hard for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And did I think about what if I married rich?
Yeah.
During those hard times? Probably. Yeah. Like, wow, if I just married a really rich dude, this wouldn't be happening. But I'm like, damn, I am the really rich dude.
Exactly, girl.
She wasn't at the time, by the way.
No, not when you
Not when we got married and
No,
stuff.
I was getting paid pennies at PwC.
Yeah.
Hourly. But I would say, because I was an accounting major, because money makes a lot of sense to me, and I believe that financial literacy is really important. I'm really passionate about it. Naturally, I started managing our money. And also, like, if I'm the one bringing in money and also paying bills, like, naturally I see the way it flows. I want to make sure we have enough in our retirement. I want to make sure we have constant investments and savings. What are our financial goals, and etc. And now we have a baby coming too, and so even more planning. But I think it's very important, and it was made even more clear when we finally got a financial advisor, like about a year ago. And I believe we were going to set up our like follow-up meeting with her. She's amazing. And she was like, hey, are you guys free next Wednesday? And Andrew was like, I'm not free, but that's okay. You guys go ahead and meet without me. Because for him, it was like, Sarah will know everything anyway.
Yeah, and I was kind of like, I'm not making any money, so what?
Maybe I'm not really part of this conversation.
Yeah, well, I don't really have a place to say anything.
Yeah, but she was really firm. She goes, no, you guys are married. This is your finances, and you both need to be aware of what's going on and make decisions together. So let's find a time where you're both available. And I think that actually, like, I really appreciated her saying that.
Yeah.
Because I had no problem with taking that meeting alone.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, don't worry, I'll take care of it, you know? And I do feel like ever since she said that, our dynamic in finances changed too. We're like, oh, this is our money and we're going to manage it together.
Yeah.
And so that looked like a lot of transparency in like my concerns, my worries of finances, or like, hey, this much came in this month. Let's move over this much funds into this account. Or, hey, like, which charities do we want to give to?
Yeah.
How much to each? And all those conversations we have now upfront, transparently, together. And so I think that's kind of how it's working in our marriage.
Yeah, yeah. Kind of coming back to what Sarah said about in a marriage, if you're doing it hopefully in the right way, you begin to grow to value what your partner grows, right? You become shaped and formed by the person you're doing life with. And some of the financial stress that we had, it came from just a different background and like what's important. So just to give paint a picture, I kind of always financially struggled since I was little. Like, my family was not well off. We didn't have a lot of money. And then I picked a career where, like, kind of in that nonprofit Christian world, you don't make a lot of money, but you're not in it for the money. And so I was used to just being poor, just barely making it, just getting by. And so my bar for what feels financially secure is extremely low. Like, hey, I can pay rent next month. We good, right?
I'm stressed out from hearing that.
Yeah, for Sarah, that's not. She's thinking about retirement, right? Like, she's early 20s.
Our non-existent baby's college tuition, actually.
Yeah, she's thinking about, are we going to be able to like leave enough for our children to be able to live well?
I was not pregnant.
Hell, what are you talking about? They're going to work too, you know?
Yeah, and my background, I don't come from a well-off, wealthy family, but as long as I can remember, we were provided for. Like, I never had to worry about money. Obviously, I always knew my parents wanted to do the most to save the most, but that's
Yeah.
like also just like Asian culture. But yeah, my dad very much financially provided for our family, sent both my brother and I to a private university. We don't know where he got his funds from. We really don't. But clearly saved plenty enough for us to go to college. And then ever since high school, I've always worked a part-time job. And so anything I wanted to do, I was able to fund with the money that I made. And so even throughout college, I've always worked. After college, I've worked. And so I needed a much higher level of financial security for me to feel like we're doing okay. So
Yeah.
say my bar is up here, Andrew's bar is down here, and that gap of feeling secure financially was what caused a lot of tension.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Are you in a marriage or are you in a manage? Welcome to my channel. Gina Tumesi here, your favorite psych nurse practitioner, coming at you again with another video where in today's video we're going to talk about marriage versus manage and really becoming savvy at the art of detachment, especially emotional detachment. The art of not putting marriage on such a pedestal that you lose yourself, you lose your years, you lose your your mental health, your purpose, your drive, heck, your joy. You don't exude joy. You're just like, you exude stressed all the time mode, and it shows on your skin, your hair. You barely have time for you because this man has literally weaponized your womb. You are not taking control of you. You are not realizing that you have a brain, that your agency in life is so important. Well, on this channel, I talk about everything pertaining to mental health, depression, anxiety, panic, insomnia, whatever. We talk about healing from trauma, crappy childhood, should I stay, should I go, really high conflict, chaotic, separation, divorce, how to heal and level up after such breakups happen. If you're contemplating such breakup, how to not drag it too long, how to center yourself. And now today we're going to learn the art of detaching and centering yourself, and truly centering yourself unapologetically, in not a cocky way, but in a more feminine way, and knowing that when you choose you and you choose your preferences to go with the flow. Heck, have you ever seen a river flowing, right? It's been a rainy day and the river just flowing, and the river encounters a rock, or there's a branch that has fallen in its way, just like life be happening, right? Sometimes we have things just being put in a way. Sometimes you feel like you're slipping, you're sliding, you're jumping, you're falling, just like that song that I love so much from Kendrick Lamar. But anyways, I mean, part of the song, the river just finds a way to flow around it. One day I remember telling this to a long-time friend ago, where I said I had set an ultimatum for my partner at that time. And she's like, you did what? I said, yeah, I set boundaries and I set an ultimatum. And she's like, how can you do that? And I said, yeah, for sure, I did that. And this has been like a decade ago. But I realized that in order for you to truly, as a woman, have an essence for yourself, have a drive for yourself, have a goal for yourself, and accepting the fact that a relationship that does not nurture that does not support you, that you have a partner that does not constantly or consistently seek to alleviate barriers in your way in order for you to lead a life that's purposeful and meaningful to you, that's someone you should set those boundaries, set those preferences, keep them set. And if possible, and it's not being respected, might be time for you to consider stopping the should I go, should I stay, and start to safely plan your exit to the stage left or right, whichever direction you want to go. But you got to make some direct, intentional decisions. And you might be afraid, but you might be willing to do it afraid. Well, check out my book that's coming out soon. Be afraid, freaking do it too. I've seen this a lot, doing a lot of research. Women, especially in my country that I come from Africa, in Ghana, hyper-religious women who are, let's say, pastors' wives, and many other dynamics too, especially if the man is in the limelight a lot, leadership, maybe own businesses in the upper echelon of some big business or whatever. A lot of women just kind of just become a fly on the wall for those men. And those men literally will be so dismissive to those women, especially if they are ingrained in misogynistic mindset of men are all about status, about the newest things, selfishness, about sex, the three things that I talk about with men: sex, selfishness, and status. The three S's, okay? So they might be dissing you to go for the younger woman because it's more of a status thing, like, oh, I'm on with this younger woman, more vulnerable, more controllable, especially if you start to set boundaries with them. You have to just be aware of that people change. Those men in those type of, dynamics and mindset and patterns, they are more likely to do that. And you not centering yourself and practicing the art of detachment is going to crumble you, and you're going to find yourself in the psychiatric ward. So what are the art of detaching? How do you be in a marriage where you are not in a marinade, but in a marriage? And you find yourself in a manage constantly. Like, imagine a manager in a workspace. You're constantly doing. You're twisting yourself into a pretzel constantly. You don't get consistent help with the children. He comes in and he acts like he's a babysitter. He's watching his children. He's still acting you. Hey, Gina, come and do this. Come and change the diaper. The baby peed. The baby pooped. Hey, Gina. You're the one managing this, that, and the third. You're the chef, the admin person, the therapist. You're the mom too. You're an emotional.
Ladies, please let this be a lesson to not settle. And if you cannot fall in love with the current version of him, you sure as hell should not be falling in love with some idealized, fantasized future version of him. If he is the way he is at this grown age, he is stuck in his ways. He will not change. And you can honestly tell how much a girl loves herself by the partner that she chooses. I knew my fiance loved me before he even told me, just purely from his actions. He single-handedly pulled me out of my hyper-independence. There was this one year I wanted to surprise my mom for Mother's Day, so me and Miso drove down to LA from SF. It's about a 7-hour drive, and he was so worried that I would be tired making the drive back to San Francisco that the man literally booked a same-day flight from SF to LA to drive my car for us. For an entire year, my friends in LA thought that I couldn't drive because he was picking me up and dropping me off and driving me around everywhere. And that is what every girl deserves.
I hate bums. You know who I hate more than a bum? A deadbeat bum. You know who's worse than that? A deadbeat bum who's married. Sarah Kim, if this is your grand entrance, grand exit, and you're running up a check real quick so you can drop the zero and get with the hero, sister, I support it. But I just want to know, did this man get his pastor license from BibleStudy.net or some shady website? Because I thought Jesus said men had to provide for their households. And he's sitting there comfortably listening to you say things like, when we were living in poverty, I thought to myself, what if I had married rich? That was crazy to me, right? And him missing your ultrasound to go on a boys trip with Cho money, crazy girl. The least he could do is sit up at home and manage your investment portfolio and cook and clean and do everything. But it seems like he wants you to do that. and he just wants to play video games, but he's a pastor, but he plays video games. I don't know. The whole thing just lets me know that bums should be isolated from society like I wish. And if I were president of the world, I would move them all to Bumistan, an island that I would create in the middle of the ocean, and they would never be able to access general society, because he was just giggling during that podcast, and I'm just sitting here like, sir, she hates you, and she's telling you how many different ways she hates you, and you think shit's sweet. And that's why I'm hoping that this is all a ploy for her to get the heck out of Dodge, because girl, run. That man is going to bleed you dry for everything that you have. Energy, time, money, your sanity.
So you're telling me, I've been seeing videos all over about Andrew and Sarah Kim, that on my FYP page on their podcast, basically how their relationship, the status of the relationship, the mental and physical toll that the relationship is having on her, because she's working a 9 to 5, she's doing influencer jobs, marketing, plus being pregnant twice, and she's showcasing all her feelings on the podcast. He is right next to her on the podcast, just listening, being all dumb, and doesn't know what to say, because he literally doesn't know what to say, because he is not comprehending the situation that he put her in. I definitely feel for her, but also she was okay with the situation beforehand. She knew how she was. She's accepting of it. She is wanting him to change, but people don't change that drastically this late into the relationship. She has somehow accepted it. She's venting out her frustrations, making it, probably hoping that he would change, but he's not going to change. This is how he is. Probably signs were there in the beginning that she ignored, and now throughout the years it's just manifested into something larger and larger. He's not going to change. She has to accept that now, or do the steps to get rid of him, to break it off with him. If not, she just has to accept it, because she did in the beginning. They have kids now, a family, a whole life. She can break away from that if she wants, but it's either yes or no. She has to, or you kind of stop complaining if you're not going to want to change it. Those are just my thoughts about it. Do I feel bad for her? I do, but she's also has let this been a thing in the relationship. She's been accepting of it. That's why they've been together for so long. You'd be surprised what people would put up with in relationships, and then years down the line they are seeing their true colors of people.
I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for saying this, but it's on my spirit after watching that Sarah and Andrew Kim podcast. But as somebody who grew up with a very present and very loving father, much like Sarah's dad, if I went to my dad and I said, Dad, I'm dating this guy, and my dad straight up looked me in my face and said, no, I don't want you dating him, I'm listening to my father. Before you come at me and you're like, oh my God, you let like another man tell you what to do, and I don't want to hear it, okay? Like I said, I have a very loving and present father in my life. Never steered me wrong, has had my back through thick and thin, has seen the worst in me and still loved me, because that's what he's supposed to do as a dad. And obviously this doesn't apply if you have a very overbearing or toxic father. I'm not talking about y'all. I get it. Do what you want to do. At the end of the day, it is your life. But just a piece of big sister advice to all my little sisters watching who have really good and present dads in their life. When it comes time for you to date, when it comes time for you to pick someone who you want to marry, do not pick someone who's going to decrease your quality of life. Like, if your dad treats you like a princess, what the hell are you doing dating somebody who treats you like a pauper? And this is not a personal attack against Sarah, but if she was my little sister, I'm dragging you out from that man's clutches by the hair. Because why? Our dad treats us so well. Why would you go? I don't understand her. I don't know her situation. So again, I'm not attacking her. She seems very sweet. Obviously a brilliant woman. But little sisters, if you're watching and you have a good father in your life that loves you and protects you and treats you well, do not ever go with a guy that cannot at least offer you that same level, if not better. Obviously you want better, but if he can't even give you what you're used to, I need you to snap out of it.
This is why you cannot idolize relationships on the internet, because if you haven't seen already, obviously my whole For You page is about Sarah and Andrew, and if you haven't followed them or you don't know who they are, it's about this couple who I followed them a long time ago. I just love watching like her videos and stuff like that. I still do. I love like all of Mama Kimchi. Like because of her, I started eating kimchi, and I love it. Like, it's just so delicious. But honestly, like, as a mom of two and someone who owns my own business and I work and all the things, It is so, as a woman, like women are just built different, right? We could handle stress. I mean, our bodies are built to like to have children, and like men are just different. But like one thing that I can say is that it doesn't matter. A man should always provide. And like, even like for myself, for example, like I make really good money in my business and my husband makes good money, right? I could say that I do make more than him, but he still brings in an income. We both bring it in together and we are able to live a beautiful life. Now, when the income falls, especially like if you're a woman and you're the breadwinner and, you know, you have to commute to work, you're pregnant, like, and you are the one that pays the bills, it will, if it hasn't already, it will take a toll on the relationship. Like it will. Especially if like your significant other isn't working and if they're just at home like playing video games. Like I don't know, and this is what I always say, do not idolize other people's relationships because you never know what goes down behind closed doors. Clearly they're airing out their dirty laundry with the podcast and stuff like that, and if that's what they want to do, I mean, good for them. Maybe it's a cry for help for her. Maybe she just wants to let the people know, like maybe so he could really understand like the gravity of like the situation. Maybe he's not taking it seriously. I don't know. Do I think that they should handle this in private and probably see a therapist? Absolutely, because you're going to get so many opinions from so many different people. But in my opinion, I do think that he is in the wrong in so many ways, because as a woman, you always want to feel secure that your husband could provide for you and take care of you. And I just don't think that's the case with her.
I still have to come face to face with, I still need a provider. No matter how many times I can double, triple, quadruple your income, I still need a financial provider, or contributor. And it's like, how do I express that need?
Girl, you say job. That's what you do. You say get a job and start providing. That's what you're on this planet to do. Like, you literally have a baby with this man. You're married and are about to have a baby with this man, and you're afraid to tell your man to go get a job and that he's not providing or meeting all your needs. Your marriage is doomed. I'm sorry to say, their marriage is doomed, okay? These two have been all over my For You page this last week because I think some clips from their podcast went viral, and I did a little deep dive on them, and I'm going to tell you right now that marriage is doomed. I don't see it going past maybe 5-6 years. It's going to be even more doomed when they have their child, because adding a child into your already like stressful situation is just going to boom. Especially when you're not meeting each other's needs and you have a lack of communication in your relationship. If you've missed this drama, like that's Sarah and Andrew Kim. They're popular Korean American TikTokers, and I did a little bit of a deep dive, but some of their podcast clips went viral, and his like preaching, because he's a pastor, he's a Korean pastor, went viral, and it just like has kind of exposed some very not nice things in their relationship. So he's like almost a decade older than her. He like wasn't a gamer, and she was really excited to marry somebody who was a gamer, and then he ended up being a gamer. Okay. When he proposed to her, he gave him a cursed ring. It was his mom's ring, but his mom and dad went through a nasty ass divorce, and he didn't even take the time to resize or restructure the ring. It didn't fit her. She had to do it. Bitch, I would have said no. You're not gonna give me no cursed ring, honey. I'm sorry. Anyways, a cursed ring that doesn't fit, of all things. She's been jobless before, and I think he helped her when she lost her job during COVID. But as of recently, he has been jobless, and she's been paying all the bills, and she's pregnant. She's like first trimester pregnant, and she works 2 jobs, which is her corporate job, and then she's a TikToker, and she commutes 2 hours for her job. But what does he do? He is a stay-at-home husband, not a stay-at-home dad. He's a stay-at-home husband. And I guess his little he contributes by managing her social media. That's about it. He doesn't have a job. And I'm just kind of sitting here looking at this like, this is just crazy to me that you women allow this. Like, you get with these men. He's like an Andrew Jenkins. He's literally the same as Andrew Jenkins, maybe not as bad, but they're in the same like category. You women want these men so bad that you're going to put up with whatever you can get out of them. And it's just weird to me that, and I don't feel bad for her, honestly. I really don't. Everyone's like, oh my God, I feel bad. I don't feel bad for her. She chose him. That's what she wanted. She chose him. She chose up with him. She's going to be in her own hell, personal hell, because she put herself there. It's just at this point, we're in this weird conservative traditional like time warp, and these men don't want to pay bills. They don't want to work, but they want you to be traditional, come home, cook and clean and rear the children, but they don't want to be providers. Like, what are we doing here? And it's like the 50-50 conversation has now gone to, you got to pay all the bills, honey. You got to pay them all. And it's like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? And I'm not adverse to 50-50 because in my household, I contribute. We live in California. We own a home in California. That shit ain't cheap, okay? And I have a certain lifestyle I want to live, so I know I have to contribute. But it's like, now y'all aren't even contributing. All you contribute is nobody really gives a about that. I'm sorry. You can get that anywhere. Like, she is about to be a single married mom. Woof. The worst thing in life. But comment your thoughts below. I want to hear, have you been keeping up on this situation? I literally did a little deep dive and I said, oh baby, couldn't be me. Could not be me. That man in his game would be on the street. He'd be right back with his mama.